What's going on, everybody? Just want to hop on here tonight. See how good the Lord's been to me. He's been really great to me. He's always great to me every day, and I just wanted to give another word of encouragement tonight. That I was on the lake about a week ago. It was me and my girlfriend. We were on the lake together, and we were just sitting on the edge of the dock, and I was just looking how the sun was coming over the mountains, and the rays, like the sunbeam rays, were hitting the water. And it's like the water was dark before the sun hit it, but as soon as the sun hit it, it almost like hit the water, and everything just kind of separated it out. The rays of the sunbeam rays had separated out, and had caused some parts of the water started, like, you know how it almost looks like it twinkles in a way, like causes little diamonds. It kind of looks like little diamonds to me when it hits the water, and some parts of the water start twinkling, give off these bright rays, and I guess bright rays are essences or color or whatever, the rays when the sunbeams hit the water. And it almost reminded me, like, it was almost like it was like God's presence was hitting different parts of the water that you couldn't see before when the water was still dark and black. And it almost made me think of the world we live in, this physical world, that we can't really, in the physical world, we can't really always see God's presence throughout the time periods or through the timelines of our life, from the time we were born to the time we grow up and grow old and eventually die and pass away. And it's like sometimes you can feel God's presence, but sometimes you can't. And when those rays hit the water like that, it just made me think of, like, it's like the times that I always thought that God wasn't with me. And it's almost like when the sun hit the water, it made me think of that God was always with me, even through the bad stuff that was going on through my life. You know, from the time that I was the times that I could have been shot and killed, abducted, or whatever evil stuff that could have happened, or anything, that the sun rays were kind of a reminder. It was a reminder to me of His presence, that even the times that I thought it was so dark and I couldn't feel God's presence near, that He was always with me. No matter what I was going through, that His hand was always right here on my shoulder, just telling me that He's got me no matter what happens. He's got me. His presence is always with us. You could think of His presence as like the twinkling beams from the sun rays when they come over the mountain, or when I was telling you it was coming over the mountain and it was hitting the water, and the water was just completely black in color, until the sun rays had hit the water, and then they started twinkling. So it reminded me of His presence, how it's like the times we don't think as God is with us, but in reality, He's been with us our whole lives. In the times that we didn't think He was there, all the bad stuff, if you could go back through the time period, the whole timeline of your life, all the bad stuff and all the evil stuff that was going on in your life, and you just didn't feel God near you, only felt all the bad stuff. Well, He was even with you when all that was going on. It was just like His unseen presence. If you want to think about it like that, in the spiritual world, you can't see God in the physical, maybe, but I mean, I don't know, like, like I don't know, like I'm trying to explain it, like, you may not always, like, seem like may not be able to see God in the physical, but in the spiritual, even the times you don't feel like He's there, He's always with us. He's always got His hands on our shoulders, around us, wrapped around us as tight as He can, and He's got you no matter what, even just through all the bad times in your life, your whole life. God's always been with you. And the way that it was just the way that how when the sun hit the water, everything separated. So and it was twinkling in different areas. So in each different area of your life, the times that you could feel God and the times that you couldn't feel God, He was always with you no matter what. no matter what. Even through everything, through your whole life, from the time you were born till now, He's always been there with you. You know, I've had plenty of times in my life that I didn't feel like God was with me. Even when I had my unbeliefs in God, when I was dabbling in witchcraft and everything that I shouldn't even been dabbling into, that God was still with me. Seeing stuff and doing stuff I shouldn't have been involved in, God was even with me then, watching over me, you know. And I just know that God, people can't tell me God's not real, because the stuff I've been through, that God has pulled me out of and pulled me away from, that I feel like, honestly, I've escaped death more times than one. And if it wasn't for God, I would have already been gone. I wouldn't even be here today talking to you guys at all if it wasn't for God. And I just felt like He picked me up and He took me away from all the mess, all the evil, all the bad stuff of this world, and He's just helped me through it and helped me pull through. And I just want this to be like a message of encouragement to other people, that every time you don't feel like God is with you, that He's always been there no matter what. Let my message of the when I was talking about the sun hitting the water, let that sink in a little bit, and think of, like, use the sun as an example, like how, or the sun rays be the example of, like, all the areas you didn't feel like, or the times in your life that you didn't feel like God was with you. He was there. He was right there with you, and he was with you every step of the way, no matter what you were going through in your life, no matter how bad it was, no matter how messed up, evil, or whatever was going on in your life. It doesn't matter what it was. He was always there in the mess with you, always there in the war zone. Even people in the military, God's with the people, those people that are in active duty in the military. He's with them every step of the way, no matter what. He's there in the hospitals. He's there in gun violence. He's there in wars. He's there in sex trafficking. All the evil, bad stuff that goes on in this world, God's there, and He sees it all. There's not a thing in this world that God doesn't know about, because He holds it all. He holds everything. He has the keys of eternity. He has the keys of everything. From the time that He spoke this world into existence to the time that it ends, He knows it all. He carries the timeline that we can't see in the physical, and He holds it in the spiritual. He knows it all. There's not a thing God doesn't know about. So just let this be a message of encouragement to someone today, and I hope it is. And I pray that it would be a message of encouragement to someone that could hear this message. Just know that God has always, always been with you, and His angels too. So just leave your messages down in the comments, and I'll pray for whoever I need to pray for. And just know that God's with you no matter what, through thick and thin. And from the time you were born till the time you take your last breath, He's always going to be there with you no matter what, through thick and thin, like a marriage, through sickness and health, death do you part. And God doesn't ever give up His promise. He's there to the very end. He is loyal. He is, I won't say this like a ride or die, but God created you, so God knows your life. And God knows what path you're going to take. So I just hope this will be a message, and I hope and pray this will be a message of encouragement to someone today that's going through a really bad mess in their life, that God is with you. And He has His hands in His arms, and He's wrapped around you, saying, "You're mine, and I love you, child. I love you so much." So I just want this to be encouragement to someone today. Keep your faith, and keep your faith strong in the Lord. So I'll pray for anyone. Just leave your messages in the comments if you need prayer. So I love you guys. Stay blessed and encouraged in Jesus' name.